Hello and welcome to my channel. So in this video I'll be showing you how I made this stylish kimono style dress with this black design in front. So if this is something you like, if this is something you're interested in, please kindly subscribe, like this video and share. Thank you. Welcome guys. So here with me I have 3 yards of fabric. So 3 yards will be enough to make this style. So I'll go ahead and open up my fabric and I'll be cutting out a little part of it which I'll be using for the sleeve. So at the length area, that is the 60 inches length area, I'll be folding into 2. First of all, I'll fold into 2, then I'll go ahead and make a fold of 4. That's after folding into 2, I'm folding again, making it into a fold of 4. Making it a fold of 4. So after folding, I'll go ahead and confirm the measurement I have there. I have about 9.5 inches. So I'll go ahead and cut this out. This will be enough for the sleeve that I'm working with. I'm actually making this for a client and she does not want her sleeve to be very wide. So 9.5 inches will do. So I'll go ahead and cut this out. After cutting, I'll proceed with folding the rest of the fabric. Now I am folding. I'll first of all fold the remaining fabric into 2, then I'll also fold again, making it a fold of 4. So I will fold. I'll go ahead and make sure I align this fold very well. I'll use my pins. I'll fold and arrange this neatly. So after folding, I'll go ahead and mark a line which serves as my starting line. So this line will be my starting line. So from this line, I'll go ahead and take my gown length measurement. The gown length I am working with is 56 inches. So at this starting line, I'll place my tip at that line and I will measure 56 inches. So I'm trying to shift and adjust this fabric while I'm holding that tip in place because I'm working with a really small table. So I proceeded in marking my 56 inches gown length and I used my ruler to draw a straight line. So I added an extra 2 inches for the allowance. Then I went ahead to use my ruler to draw a straight line there. Still at the top line, that's the shoulder line, I've come down by 10 inches, which is the bust point. I'll also mark 10 inches in order for me to achieve a straight line. I'll use my ruler to connect to a straight line. Now, still on this starting line, I'll mark my waistline, which is 17 inches. I'll still mark 17 inches over there for me to be able to have a straight line. I'll go ahead and mark my hip points. The hip point I'm working with for this dress is 25 inches. I'll mark 25 inches over there, and I'll use my ruler to connect a straight line. So here I have the starting line, which is the shoulder line. I have the bust line, the waist line, the hip line, and the dress length. So at this starting line, I'll be going in by 3 inches for my neck width and 1.5 inch for the neck depth, and I connected with a round curve. So I'll go in with half of my shoulder measurements. My shoulder is 15. The shoulder I'm working with, my client's shoulder measurement is 15 divided by 2. I have 7.5. I marked, and at that point I marked a sleeve length of 7 inches. So I marked a sleeve length of 7 inches. Sorry, it was not showing. So I'm trying to confirm my measurements. I marked 3 inches neck width and 1.5 inches neck depth, shoulder 7.5, and from that point I marked 7 inches for my sleeve length. Now this sleeve length of 7 inches I'm marking, remember I cut out some inches earlier. I'll be adding it to it. Now at that point where my sleeve length stopped, I came down by 1 inch for my shoulder slope. Then I'll take my ruler to connect to the neck width. So I did this carefully. Now from the points I marked my 1 inch for shoulder slope, I connected down, as you can see, to the bust line. Now it's at this bust line that I'll be taking my bust measurement. So I'll go ahead and take my bust measurement. I'll add extra 2 inches to 2.5 inches. The 2 inches I added, half inch will serve as the seam allowance, while 1.5 inches will serve as the ease allowance. So after marking that, I went over to the waistline. I'll take my waist measurement divided by 4, and I'll add extra 2 inches. Now I'll connect from the bust to the waistline. Now at that point, I wouldn't want to leave it pointy, so I'll go in by 1 inch and I'll give it that curve. So at the hip line, I'll go in with my hip measurement divided by 4. I'll mark and add extra 2.5 inches. Then I'll use my curve ruler to connect from my waist to my hip line. After connecting from my waistline to the hip line, I will still go ahead and connect from that hip line down to the length of the dress. This time around, I'll add a few inches because I wouldn't want it to be straight. I will just add a few inches, then make it look like an A-line at the end of the dress. This will help my clients walk freely. So I went ahead and measured what I have there, and I found out that it is more than 4 inches bigger than what I added to the hip area. So I'll go ahead and cut this out. So I'll cut the neckline, the shoulder slope. So I'll pin this down. If you watch closely, you will notice that I only had the back neckline drawn out already. So I'll pin this down and lay it carefully in place. Now I'll go ahead and mark the front neckline. Now from my neck width, I'll be coming down. I'll be slanting there by 8 inches. So I want the depth of my front neckline to be 8 inches. Then I'll use my ruler to connect a V neckline. Then from that point where I marked 8 inches, I'll mark 2 inches. Remember that is a design, there's a black design in the front of this dress that we are trying to recreate. So I'll mark 2 inches from there down to the end of the dress. Thereafter, I'll use my ruler to connect. So I'll be using this ruler to connect. So this is how I'll be connecting from that 2 inches to my neck width. I will use my ruler to place from my neck width down to that 2 inches with a straight line. So after connecting our lines, this is what we have. So this is the point where you have to be very careful so you don't ruin everything. Remember that we are cutting both front and back pieces together. So we are going to remove our pins. We'll take out the back piece first before cutting these parts. So you want to be careful doing this. You don't want to ruin everything. You don't want to go ahead and cut both front and back together like this. So you carefully remove the back pieces inside before cutting out. So I'm done removing the back piece. Now I am cutting out. Now I am done cutting out, and for the front, as you can see, we have 2 pieces for the front, but the back is just 1 piece. Now I'm taking out the pins. I'm going to arrange the back piece. I'll bring the back piece. I'll arrange the front piece on it, right at the shoulder, right sides facing each other, just as I am doing like this. I'll pick up the front pieces. I'll place it on the shoulder like this. I'll pin it down and I'll take it to my sewing machine to sew it down. And I'll do the same for the other side. This is a black crepe I'll be using for the design on this dress. I have about half yard here. So I went ahead to cut. I cut about 2 pieces of this fabric, 2 long strips of this fabric. I have the width 6 inches and the length about 62 inches. So I placed them right sides facing each other and I made this joining right here at the top. Now I'll go ahead and determine how deep I want the V neckline to be. So I'll place my tape right at the middle of my shoulder, at the middle of my neckline there, and I'll determine how deep I want it to be. So I'll be using 13.5 inches. My client really wants it very deep, although she is taller than me, so that's why I'm using 13.5 inches. I'll mark 13.5 inches right there, and remember the width I'm working with for this black crepe fabric is 6 inches. So right there, I'm going to divide what I have there by 2, which is 3. I'll mark 3 repeatedly till I get to the end of this fabric. Then I'll connect with a straight line. Mind you, I'm marking these 3 inches for me to be able to achieve a straight line. So after marking 3 inches from to the end, I'll go ahead, connect and make a straight stitch right on the line. Then I'll bring it back and show you what it looks like. So I've made the straight stitch, and this is what I have. This is what I have after stitching. Now at this point, this joint that I have here, I'm going to open it up like this and I'll iron it in place. Now I'll hold these two front pieces this way. I'll flip it to the side like this, then I'll take it to my ironing table and iron it out. So you want to iron this thing properly so that it will stay in place. So go ahead and iron neatly. I'll take mine to my ironing table. I'll iron and bring it back to show you what it looks like. So after ironing, this is what I have. After ironing, this is what I have. So this is my dress. I already made the stitch at the shoulder. So I'll put them together like this. I'll arrange them properly. Then I'll take my scissors and make a notch at the middle of my back neckline there. So this notch there is right at the middle of my back. So I'll bring this black fabric, that joining I had there, I'll place it on the notch. I'll place it on the notch this way. I'll make sure I align it properly. I will use my pin. I'll pin it down. I'll pin that middle there, and I will pin repeatedly to the other side. I'll make sure I arrange this thing in place so that it does not move. I'll arrange it properly and I'll pin till I get to the end. Now once I'm done pinning from the middle to one side, I'll come back to the other side. So from the middle, I'll pin to the other side. I'll pin this thing properly in place before taking it to my sewing machine. Now I am done pinning. I'll take it to the sewing machine and I'll stitch. So this is the fabric we cut out earlier for the sleeve. Now as you can see, I am done joining the black fabric to the middle of this dress, and I've also ironed it out. Now I'm taking a measurement from the back of my neckline. Like literally I'm taking my shoulder measurement. I took 7.5 inches, and from that point I measured 7 inches. So remember that at the beginning of this video, while we were drafting, we added 7 inches for the sleeve. So basically we are going to be adding some inches to that 7 inches for our sleeve. So the sleeve length I'm working with is 26 inches. So taking note of that 7 inches that we already have in the dress, I'll be marking 26 inches. So at first I marked about 26 inches, but later I corrected it because out of these 26 inches, I'll be adding another 4 inches of the black fabric. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to explain, but please just let me go over it again. So on the dress, I marked 7 inches for my sleeve. So I'll be adding extra 15 to 16 inches, which will make it a total of 23 inches. Then the band, I'll be using a band of 4 inches, making it a total of 27 inches, which is actually my sleeve length plus allowances. Now I am bringing in my dress again to measure the round sleeve. So the round sleeve I'm working with is 14 inches because, like I said earlier, my client does not want a very big sleeve. So I'll be using 14 inches for the round sleeve. 14 divided by 2, I will have 7. So I'm trying to mark where my 7 inches will get to. So these 7 inches, I'll be marking it at one side of this sleeve that I had already cut out. I'll mark 7 inches plus ½ inch allowance, which I'll be using to join the sides. So after marking the 7.5 inches, I will just connect it. I didn't have much of fabric there, so I will just connect it. It was supposed to be an A line, so I will just connect it that way and I will cut it out. So at this point, I'm just trying to open up this place because it is closed. Just cut it out a little. After cutting, this is what I have, and this is the band I'll be attaching to the down part of this sleeve. So I'll go ahead and attach the band this way, then I'll just use my weaving machine to just weave it. I'll do the same for the other sleeve. Now I am done joining the band. I'm also gone ahead to weave. I will just take this to my ironing table and iron. So I'll be adding this to my dress. I'll be attaching this sleeve to my dress. Now I made a notch at the middle of this sleeve and I'll attach it to my sleeve. Starting from the middle, I'll do same for the other side, and this is what I have. You can see how it looks here. So I had this band cut out, so I'll be attaching this band as a belt. I had about 2.5 inches wide and 60 inches long, but I'll be dividing this into two for the two sides. I'll go ahead and turn this over to the wrong side. I'll sew with 1/2 inch and I will flip it and turn. After sewing and turning, this is what I have. You can see that all sides of the band is closed except for the side I'll be attaching to my dress. This is closed. Only this part is open, and this is what I'll be attaching to my dress. So I'll break my dress and I'll look for the waist line. I'll use my tape. I'll measure the half length. So I'll be attaching this band 1 inch above the half length I am working with. So I'll attach it. I'll mark 16 inches from the shoulder and I'll attach my band. So I'll bring the band. I'll now pin it down this way, making sure that the band is placed inside the clothes this way. So I'll do the same for the other side before using the back to cover up. Then I'll take this to my sewing machine. I'll stitch from the sleeve down to the sides, and I'll do the same thing for both sides. I'll secure this band. I'll place it inside so that it does not move. So now after joining both sides, I'll go ahead and hem the down of this dress, the base of this dress, with the allowance I added. And once I was done with that, I'll take this to my ironing table and press. So this is what I have. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.